quote-unquote traded to the Ravens for 2 first-round picks. Then the trade was called off because of a failed physical. Well, Maxx Crosby has a podcast, The Rush with Max, and he went in depth as to what happened from his perspective the day he went to visit the Ravens after he was traded there. And here is what Crosby had to say.
I was like, where's Eric at? Like, I want to say, you know what I mean? Like, he just made the trade. Like, I didn't see him for 5 hours. So I go and do my thing. At the end, they're like, yeah, I'll take you up. Joe was like, I'll take you up and you can go see the head coach, whatever, just before you leave. I was like, hell yeah. I was like, that's what I want to say what's up to him. So I went back up. I dap him up, and they could just tell, like, the energy was a little bit off. And the GM was standing in, like, the hall, like, in the room next to me to the right. And that was the first time I seen him. And, I'm just in my head, like, this is a whirlwind. Like, I'm so excited, like, fired up. You know what I mean? Like, this is a new opportunity, whatever. And you can just tell the energy was off. Like, I dapped him up, he had like a blank face, and I'm like, okay, I'm not thinking anything of it. Maybe it's just different. I don't know him.
You'd be standing at the car door when he got out.
Car door, you'd be Daryl Morey, James hardening it, and standing at the tarmac.
What?
Right?
I'm confused as to when the timeline sort of doesn't make sense as far as when the physical actually happened.
Okay, so he gets
it
the facility. He gets the facility.
As soon as he got there.
No,
Yes.
so they flew him to D.C.
Yes.
Because they didn't have direct flights to Baltimore. Then I think the next day they said, or he said, he had a physical and an MRI, but he didn't speak with Jesse Minter or Eric DaCosta throughout the day. It was 5 hours later. So he arrives at the facility. This is according to the reporting here and according to what Crosby said. He arrives at the facility. They don't greet him. He goes through the medicals, and then 5 hours later they talk to him.
Also, like that is, I don't know. Maybe I'm nuts in this.
No, it makes you think. Upon arrival, was this already in motion? That's
Okay,
what I think we're all jumping to that conclusion.
I just confirmed one other thing. I needed to confirm something because he kept mentioning Rachel, and I assumed Rachel was his wife. And to me, that's key. He kept saying Rachel was upstairs, meaning obviously she went with him because it's like, hey, we're moving our family to this area. In my head, and maybe I am making this up and maybe I'm wrong, and if there's any former players or executives listening that want to reach out to us and help us on this, in my head, if you give up 2 first-round picks to get a guy and you fly him to your facility, you are waiting for him, but really you're waiting for his family. You want to make sure that family feels like, oh my God, this is the greatest, thank God we're here. And the one thing you know about Maxx Crosby, despite the losing, you know how much he loves the Raiders and how much the Raiders love him personally. I can't understand the idea of not greeting him upon arrival and waiting 5 hours, because that takes you to the conspiracy theories of, was it cold feet upon arrival or cold feet just after the physical?
Okay, if you bought something really expensive, okay, let's say you bought a car, and it's the most expensive car you've ever bought. Historically in your life, just like the Ravens historically have not done a trade like this to mortgage this draft capital. You have never extended yourself, but it's your dream car. And they say, hey, we're going to put it in the garage. Are you going to wait 5 hours to take it out for a spin? Or 5 hours to go look at the car in the garage? You're going to be so excited, and you can't wait to go check it out. You're not going to sit in your office, watch some TV, and then 5 hours later go out and say, oh, it's in the garage.
Oh, I didn't know this was here.
You're going to be in the driveway waiting for them to unload the car into your space. And so, of course, that's where my mind goes, and I'm sure a lot of other people's minds go. If you're not waiting for him upon arrival, and it takes 5 hours for you to even say what's up to him, at what point did you know that this wasn't going to go through?
All right, so I understand the impulse to, and this certainly brings to mind conspiracy theories, but I still don't buy the conspiracy theories. And I want to lay out why I don't.
Okay.
Number one is they ended up with Trey Hendrickson, who's a worse player by far. Way worse against the run. Motor isn't as high. I don't know what he's like in the locker room, but Maxx Crosby's the freaking mayor of Vegas, okay? Like, he's not as good as Maxx Crosby because very few are. You paid him what essentially is a market rate deal. And you would have known that would have been available to sign before Maxx Crosby became available. It's not like Trey Hendrickson's market crashed and they gave him $10 million. They gave him around 30, which is what they thought he was going to get. The other part of it is that everybody seems so confident that the Ravens were up to something. It was the reporters passing on GM comments about how shady it was. Well, if you're so sure, GMs, that the Ravens were up to something shady, why didn't you immediately check in with Maxx Crosby? Because obviously he's healthy. If you say the Ravens are being shady, he's obviously completely fine. Why wasn't there anybody knocking down their door? They weren't, including the Cowboys, who stuck with Rashawn Gary, who, by the way, one of the doctors who worked on Maxx Crosby was a Cowboys doctor. Adam Schefter reported. So I just feel like, and Robert Beard and a couple other people have made this clear, all these physicals are a gray area, especially when you have meniscus surgery and you're coming and you're projecting about what it's gonna look like in July and August. And if you're signing a guy for $4 million and you say, it looks fine, those things tend to pass. But if it's 2 first-round picks, you're going to be extremely, extremely careful. I am not surprised this happened, and I am not yet buying any conspiracy theory.
Okay, but so I'm hearing you say that maybe even though they made this deal, the Ravens, when they made it, weren't sure it was going to go through because of the physical.
I think that anytime you're coming out, very rarely are guys, people in the league have said this, very rarely are guys signed or traded like this at this point in their rehab. It's pretty early. I think the Ravens were going out there and trying to remove all doubt about their roster, go out and get a top-of-the-line guy at a position they desperately needed, and then they figured out, this isn't as smart as we thought because this guy is still hurt. And by the way, what's really funny about it is that there was that whole hubbub about tanking late in the season that Maxx Crosby wanted to play. It turns out he was really hurt. He had meniscus surgery. And so I don't think the Ravens came into it thinking they were going to possibly fail him on a physical. I'm just saying once you see it happen, you say, okay, the way NFL teams are so risk averse, it doesn't surprise me that a guy who's I think 28 years old off of meniscus surgery has the capability to get a failed physical.
But wouldn't you still be greeting him upon arrival? Because at that point, he has not had the medicals. He hasn't gone through the process. You don't have the results. Everything that you're saying, Kevin, is correct. If you're going to make an investment like this and give up that much draft capital, I need to cross every T and dot every I. I need to know for sure that you are going to be able to be healthy. But they did not know that upon his arrival.
Right.
I don't know enough.
Allegedly, they did not know that.
We have
upon
to ask
his
DC
arrival.
or somebody. I don't know enough about the process. Do they let the doctors handle it, then they come in? I honestly just don't know.
Kevin, we've seen enough in sports to see when a major acquisition happens, they're waiting for the guy and his family. They're waiting for, because Maxx Crosby, if you listen to his podcast, the thing that he was most confused about was where are they? And then he went to the place of, oh my God, oh my God, am I going to need another surgery? Which is a horrible place to go mentally, but he didn't know where they were. We're on Sportsmanlike, presented by Progressive Insurance.
Your dog